Okay, interval training. Why is it important? What does it do for you? And how can it benefit you in your running right now? I have a friend who has just ran 50 minutes for 10K and he's absolutely over the moon. And it's been a 4, 5, 6 month journey for him in terms of getting into running, taking a few back steps because he got injured, he got sick, and now he's at a point where he's running every other day, he runs 5K every other day, and at the weekend, he runs further and he's got up to 10K and he's absolutely over the moon to be running. And that's a quick time for somebody who's just been running a few months. But it came naturally to him, as we discussed him, it came quite naturally to him to realize that to be able to run the distances that he wants to run, he wants to move on to the half marathon, a marathon, stamina and endurance is going to play a huge part in that. And it is the most important factor in distance running. But what fewer people realize is that interval training is going to help you to get faster, and it's going to help you to improve your times, and it's also going to help you to go faster, to go further, more quick. So why is interval training so good? So interval training improves your running economy. What is running economy? Running economy is essentially the ability of your body to move over the ground as efficiently as possible. So if, for example, if my friend's going out there and doing 10K in 50 minutes and his heart rate is at 170, probably can't keep that up for so much longer. And so what he would benefit in doing is improving his running economy, bringing that 170 beats down to maybe 130, 140 beats for the same time, and therefore he will be able to move more comfortably onto 15K, 20K, half marathon and beyond, and still stay within that sort of pace, that 5 minute per kilometer, that 10K in 50 minutes, and that will be much easier for him. Second reason is very much linked to that. It makes your second gear, it makes your race pace feel so much easier. So if you're used to running at 4 minutes per kilometer in interval sessions, whether you're running 1 minute intervals, 3 minute intervals, 10 minute intervals, and then your race pace is 5 minutes per kilometer, so you're running 50 minutes for 10K, or you're running a marathon in 5 minutes per kilometer, that race pace feels so much more comfortable, and so you can go further and for a faster pace as you increase that distance. Super important. So how would you get into interval training so that it can benefit you right now, and you can get into interval training without getting injured, without getting sick, and without taking any back steps? So if you think about it like this is the easiest way I can summarize it. So if we take my friend as an example, 10K in 50 minutes, 5 minutes per kilometer. So if he would go out there and run 50 times 1 minute and run those 1 minutes controlled, but as fast as he could, knowing that he's going to have to do 50 of them, but knowing that after each minute, there's a minute complete rest where he's taking his heart rate down as much as possible, heavy breathing, taking in some water maybe. Over those 50 times 1 minute, he's going to go much further than 10K. That is essentially interval training. As we get used to those distances, as we get used to running faster, we're able to gradually move up in the interval to make sure to ensure that we're going faster than 50 minutes for the 10K. So if we take the example again and we take 25 times 2 minutes, there's less intervals with a little bit more time, it's probably not going to be able to cover initially the same distance times 2 as the 50 times 1 minute intervals. So it's going to be more than 10K that he's running in the 25 times 2 minutes, the 50 minutes, but not as far as the 50 times 1 minute distance that he would cover. Again, if we take that example and we go 5 times 10 minutes, again, he'll be running more than he could do just running straight out 50 minutes for 10K, at 10K as fast as he can right now. He'll run further in those 5 times 10 minutes, but it's not going to be as far as he would in the 25 times 2 minutes. It's not going to be as far in the 50 times 1 minute because he's going to have to pace himself more over the intervals, over the 5 times 10 minutes. It's a longer interval. So you've got different types of intervals. Of course, it's quicker. You're running quicker if you're going shorter. You're running a little bit slower if you're going longer intervals. My favorite session is 5 times 10 minutes. And so when you're working with minutes, when you're working with time intervals, it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're a beginner or whether you're a professional Olympic marathon distance runner, those intervals are all about control, they're all about pacing it, and they're all about what you did maybe a couple of months ago versus what you did today, and therefore you can see your improvement. And that will impact directly on your race times and directly on your ability to run fast for an extended period of time, like my friend running 50 minutes for 10K. So how do you get into it, and how would your first session look? It's not going to look like 50 times 1 minute. So if you're running, for example, if you got up to 10K and that's your long run at the weekend, what I would do is get a distance of between 4 and 6K overall interval, and that might be for you 20 to 30 minutes, like for my friend, but it's probably, he's going to be running faster, is I'd break that 20 minutes up. So I'd start with something like 20 times 1 minute or 10 times 2 minutes. So my overall volume is 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, 24 minutes, something like that. So maybe 12 times 2 minutes or 24 times 1 minute. And then you're learning to build control and to pace those intervals. Very difficult initially to pace intervals when you're not used to running that fast. And if if all your runs, like if you're getting into this and you're starting to put some structure in, the long run's getting longer and you want to insert some speed, you want to get some speed from the interval session, it's likely that your body's not used to going much faster than the regular pace. It's likely that a lot of your runs are around about the same pace. And so to input speed is going to be a shock to the system initially, which is great because that's when growth comes. But what you want to make sure that you're not doing is you're not getting injured. And the best way to do that, if you're used to going for 5K runs and 10K runs at the weekend and a little bit longer at the weekend, make that manageable. So don't do too much. It's very easy to want to do too much initially. It's very easy to go out there and want to really push it because you see the benefit and you see initially that you get lots of improvement from it. Take it slow and make sure that gradual is the key to everything in running, whether it's adjusting the distance of your long run and gradually getting further and further. Exactly the same with the interval session. And there'll be a sweet spot. If you're training for the 10K, for instance, a lot of 10K runners will not run for more than 24 to 30 minutes in intervals, and they'll be quick intervals and they'll feed nicely back into their race pace, but there's no need for them to go any more in volume than 24 to 30 minutes, but they will go faster in those intervals, and they'll break those intervals into different segments. Maybe it's 1 minute intervals, 3 minutes, 5 minute intervals, maybe it's 1K repeats or 1600 meter repeats, but it's important that they've got that overall volume at around about that mark because that will be quality. The temperature is so hot out here, I'm almost dying. But the camera just died. But to continue on from that, so what can we learn from that? Whether you're a 10K runner preparing for 10K and you're an elite runner preparing for 10K, you're only doing 24 to 30 minutes worth of intense interval training, meaning you're getting faster, stronger, and that's feeding back into your race pace. Same with a marathon runner, but they're just doing a little bit more volume on the interval training. But what can you do? I would do this. If I was getting into a structured interval session, I would use 20 to 30 minutes only. And I'd use that time, I'd start with 20 times 1 minute or 12 times 2 minutes. Something really simple, 1 minute interval in between, a 1 minute rest recovery in between, and I'd learn controlling those intervals. At first, if you've just been going out and running for 5K, 7K, 10K, you're jogging along, you're more or less doing the same pace, this is going to be a shock to the system. But use that volume of 20 to 30 minutes and get the most, learn how to pace yourself, learn how to control the session, gradually increase the speed, don't go wild to begin with, otherwise your calves, your hamstrings and your glutes are going to feel it, and the relationship between your calves, your Achilles and the big power muscles, your glutes and hamstrings is not going to be great yet because what you've been doing is going out there and running for 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour, and you're not used to doing that faster pace. You were to go out there and sprint, unless you've been playing a team sport like football that involves sprinting from time to time, chances are that the relationship between fast feet, strong Achilles, strong calves, and big power muscles, glutes and hamstrings is not there yet. That's something that we want to improve. So go out there, work with 20 to 25, 30 minutes, break that down, learn to control it, 1 minute rest in between, and just do 20 times 1 minute for the first session. See what you can do. Have those accelerations. Make sure you're running faster than you would do if you're on your long run, faster than your easy and recovery runs. Gradually build that speed over time. And you don't need to play too much more than 25 to 30 minutes in total in order for you to run a 10K, in order for you to run a marathon. What's important, and always think this before you get out the door for any run, what's the purpose of this session? The purpose is to make you feel more comfortable running faster, and over time, over just weeks and a couple of months, you'll see a big progress from this. This will be the biggest progress that you see in your running once you add interval sessions into the structure of your week. What you'll see is that you're getting faster gradually, and so focus on that and focus on building speed. If you've just got into interval training and you're finding it difficult, if you're doing intervals but you feel as if you're getting it wrong, let me know in the comments below and I'll help you with it.